past few weeks. You guys had a pretty similar substitution pattern in terms of when guys come in, especially in the first and third quarters. How much do you consider changing things up at this point in the playoffs?
All things are on the table in the playoffs, and you have your rotations and you look at matchups, but all things are on the table and all guys need to be ready to go.
Baines and Monroe didn't play a lot in game one. Just what do you think about the way what they contribute to the Celtics?
Baines and Monroe,
Right.
big bodies. Obviously, they still ended up with 11 offensive rebounds as a team. The rebound differential wasn't huge, but they still ended up with 11 offensive rebounds. They're guys that will play physical. We're very familiar with Moose, obviously for obvious reasons. And we know that when they come in, the things that they do, they'll be very consistent in trying to continue to do those things.
What do you think of Baines' defense?
Again, big body. Wouldn't say, he's capable of blocking shots, but really it's usually trying to step up, might be a charge guy, position defender. I think, for him, he knows his role, and I would say most of their guys, that's one of the things that they do well. Each guy knows exactly what their roles are when they come into the game. And I know he was a good teammate with Delhi in Australia.
Joe, the last two-minute report, you mentioned a bunch of potential 10-second violations on Giannis on his free throws from game one. It's pretty unusual. You never really see it called, of course. Is that something that's ever been brought up to you guys, or is that something you speak to him about, or anything like that?
It has been brought up in the past, and we're aware of the things that are in the 2-minute report, and it's all of it. Like I said, it's been brought up in the past, and there's a lot of things that get brought up that we address with the team as need be. Don't want to go into the 2-minute report being as to why we do or do not do things.
Hey Coach, in game one it looked like the spacing was a little clustered at times. Just curious if that was something that could be adjusted tonight for game two.
Say that again?
The spacing seemed a little clustered. Just curious if that's something that can be adjusted for tonight.
Yeah, well, every team is going to talk about spacing, and for us, for sure, we have to make sure that, one, we space the floor, and that starts in transition. When we run, we want to try and run and get layups, get easy baskets. Once we get into our sets, then we want to execute them sharp and be on point with where we are setting screens. And then after, we call it the play after the play, being ready in our spots and spacing the floor if we need to. So that could be utilizing the corners, making sure we're up at the wing. A lot of times, if you're within 10 feet of a guy, 15 feet of a guy, usually you need to realize that you need better spacing and you need to talk to each other, communicate.
Okay. Getting back to the big man again, both yourself and Brad spoke a lot about how you went small, especially down the stretch there. Horford had 14 free throw attempts on the game. Do you consider, because we know the Bucks have largely a three-man center rotation, do you consider a point of difference with Tyler or Font tonight?
Yeah, actually, when you started that out, I thought you were just going to refer to the Australian big man. But no, like I said, I think everybody has to be ready to get out and contribute what they can to the game. So, for example, when Tyler comes into the game, he has to be ready to bang, has to be ready for pick and roll coverages, has to be ready to rebound. He's done a great job for us this year of setting screens, getting underneath the defense, hard rolls. He's very good at playing. He can pop and make a quick decision to dribble handoff or go back to a pick and roll. He can half roll and make passes to the open players. He also has the ability to roll and finish at the rim. Him and Giannis at times have had good chemistry. So I think for all of our guys, when they step in, they have to know what we need from them and the value of it. If you're coming off the bench, is you see what we need. You can see what we need to add to help us win a game or help us win a quarter or what have you.
Joe, you waited a long time for this opportunity. Do you have any chance to enjoy your first playoffs as a head coach? How has the transition been to taking over a team in mid-season with high expectations and now advancing to the playoffs and teams? Ownership expect to win, they want to win, and you got great talent.
For me personally, I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have been doing this for as long as I have, to have worked with the people that I've worked with. And one thing I can genuinely say is, for all the things I've been a part of, it's never been about me. It won't be. It'll be about the team, what we can accomplish, all the things that we've set out to do from the beginning of the year. And that's the fun part. And this is great. It's fun. Like, you want to enjoy this. So game one, I thought was actually a very good game, an entertaining game. There were things that could have been done better, as we've talked about, with rebounds or turnovers or 50-50 balls. But that was a good basketball game. And but the fun part would have been coming out on the winning edge of that. So there's no gray area there. We're here to win games. And that's what we want to do. So you enjoy it because we love what we do. We're very fortunate to do it. And at the end of the day, this is about what we as the Milwaukee Bucks can accomplish.
Coach, going forward, how much are you going to look to seek out Chris in those isolations in the post on smaller guards, and how does that affect your floor spacing?
Well, throughout the year, we've had Chris in the post quite a bit. And so we're very familiar and comfortable with our spacing with anybody in the post for that matter. But with Chris, it's always going to depend on what their coverages are. We saw what they did in game one and what they've done throughout the year. So if they make adjustments to that, then we will adjust as well. But Chris is that's one of the beauties of Chris. He's very comfortable in the post. He can handle in pick and rolls. He's a great screen setter, which a lot of times do lead to his post-ups, as you mentioned. Sometimes it's off of switches. But Chris is a versatile piece, and he's very comfortable down there, and we're comfortable with the spacing that we have around him.